The rain pounded against the window pane with relentless fury, as if nature itself was determined to cleanse the world of its impurities. I watched the droplets race each other down the glass, blurring the view of the dark, desolate street outside. My thoughts, however, were far from the weather. They were consumed by memories that gnawed at my sanity, memories of betrayal and deceit that had shattered my once perfect life. Mark had been everything to me. We met in college, and from the moment our eyes locked, I knew he was the one. Our love blossomed quickly, and soon we were inseparable. His charm, his wit, his unwavering support, he was my rock. When he proposed to me under the starlit sky, I felt like the luckiest woman in the world. But happiness, as I would soon learn, is a fragile thing, easily shattered by the sharp edges of reality. It started subtly, the changes in his behavior. He began working late, often claiming that the demands of his job were increasing. I believed him. Why wouldn't I? He had never given me a reason to doubt him. But the late nights turned into weekend trips, and the phone calls that were once frequent became sporadic. When he was home, he seemed distant, lost in thoughts he refused to share. I tried to reach out to him, but my attempts were met with cold indifference. The first real clue came when I found a lipstick-stained handkerchief in his car. It wasn't mine. I confronted him, my heart pounding in my chest, hoping for a reasonable explanation. He brushed it off, saying it must have been left by a colleague who had borrowed his car. His casual dismissal only fueled my suspicions, but I chose to believe him. I wanted to believe him. Months passed, and the cracks in our marriage widened. He became increasingly secretive, his phone glued to his hand, his laptop always password protected. The man I had once shared everything with had become a stranger. I felt like an intruder in my own home, tiptoeing around him, afraid to ask questions that might push him further away. But the gnawing doubt continued to fester, eating away at my sanity. One fateful evening, I decided to follow him. He had claimed he was meeting a client for dinner, but I needed to know the truth. I trailed him through the city streets, my heart racing with a mix of fear and anticipation. When he entered a small, dimly lit restaurant, I waited outside, peering through the window. My worst fears were confirmed when I saw him with her, a woman young and beautiful, laughing at something he had said. The intimacy between them was undeniable. The pain of betrayal was like a knife to the heart. I felt my world collapse around me, the foundation of my life crumbling into dust. I wanted to storm in, to confront them both, but I couldn't. I was paralyzed by the realization that my husband, the man I had devoted my life to, had been unfaithful. Tears streamed down my face as I stumbled away, the rain mingling with my sobs. That night, I confronted him with the evidence. He didn't deny it. Instead, he admitted to the affair with a cold, detached expression. He claimed he had fallen out of love with me, that our marriage had become a burden. His words were like poison, seeping into my veins, destroying any remnants of hope I had clung to. I filed for divorce the next day, determined to sever the ties that bound me to him. The weeks that followed were a blur of legal proceedings and emotional turmoil. I moved out of our home, seeking refuge in a small apartment on the outskirts of town. I tried to rebuild my life, but the wounds of betrayal ran deep. Nights were the worst, the silence amplifying my loneliness and despair. I found solace in alcohol, numbing the pain with each glass of wine. But no amount of numbing could erase the nightmares that haunted my sleep. It was during one of those restless nights that I first noticed the strange occurrences. At first, it was just small things: a book out of place, a door left ajar. I dismissed them as the result of my own distraction. But soon, the incidents became more unsettling. I would wake up to find the television on, static filling the screen. Lights flickered, and the temperature in my apartment would drop inexplicably. I felt a presence, something malevolent, watching me. I tried to rationalize it, telling myself it was just my imagination, the result of stress and sleep deprivation. But the incidents continued to escalate. One night, I awoke to find the word cheater scrawled across my bathroom mirror in what appeared to be blood. My heart raced, panic seizing me. I called the police, but they found no evidence of an intruder. They suggested it was a prank, but I knew better. Something sinister was at play. Desperation led me to seek help from a psychic. Madame Serena, as she called herself, lived in a rundown house at the edge of town. Her eyes, dark and piercing, seemed to see right through me. She listened to my story, her expression grave. "There is a dark energy all around you," she said. "A spirit seeking vengeance." The words sent a chill down my spine. I asked her what I could do, how I could rid myself of this malevolent presence. She handed me a bundle of sage and a small vial of holy water. "Cleanse your home," she instructed, "and pray. Pray for forgiveness and peace." I followed her instructions, hoping to banish whatever dark force had latched on to my life. But the disturbances only grew more violent. Doors slammed shut, objects flew across the room, and I heard whispers in the dead of night, voices accusing me of sins I hadn't committed. I felt my grip on reality slipping, my mind unraveling under the weight of fear. It was then that I discovered the truth, a truth more horrifying than I could have ever imagined. I was going through old photo albums, seeking some semblance of comfort in the memories of happier times, when I found a letter tucked between the pages. It was addressed to me, written in Mark's handwriting. My hands trembled as I unfolded it. "Dear Emily," it began, "if you're reading this, it means I'm gone. There are things you need to know, things I couldn't tell you while I was alive. The affair was a lie. I never cheated on you. I made it up to protect you, to keep you safe. There is a curse, a darkness that has plagued my family for generations. I thought I could shield you from it, but I was wrong. It has found you, and now it's coming for you. Forgive me, Emily. I never stopped loving you." Tears blurred my vision as I read his words. The revelation was a double-edged sword, the relief of knowing he hadn't betrayed me, and the terror of realizing the true nature of the horror that surrounded me. The dark presence wasn't just a spirit, it was a curse, a malevolent force that had claimed my husband and now sought to claim me. With newfound determination, I sought answers. I delved into the history of Mark's family, uncovering a lineage steeped in tragedy and darkness. The curse, it seemed, had been born out of a pact made generations ago, a deal with a malevolent entity in exchange for wealth and power. The price, however, was the souls of the firstborns in each generation. Mark's father had succumbed to it, and now it was my husband's turn. In his desperation to save me, Mark had concocted the affair as a way to push me away, hoping distance would protect me from the curse's reach. But the curse had found me, and it was relentless. I knew I had to confront it, to break the cycle once and for all. Armed with the knowledge I had gathered and the remnants of Mark's love, I performed a ritual under the guidance of Madame Serena. It was a harrowing experience, the air thick with malevolent energy, but I pressed on, chanting the incantations, invoking the names of ancient protectors. The room grew colder, the shadows deepening as the presence manifested before me. It was a grotesque figure, a twisted amalgamation of all the souls it had claimed. Its eyes burned with hatred, its mouth twisted into a snarl. I felt its pull, the darkness threatening to consume me. But I stood my ground, driven by love and determination. In a final act of defiance, I held up a photograph of Mark and me, a symbol of the love that had transcended even death. "You will not take me," I declared, my voice steady despite the fear that gripped my heart. "Our love is stronger than your curse." The entity let out a guttural roar, the force of its rage shaking the very foundations of my apartment. But the photograph glowed with a brilliant light, the love it represented acting as a beacon of hope. The darkness recoiled, the malevolent energy dissipating like smoke in the wind. I collapsed to the floor, exhaustion overwhelming me as the presence vanished. In the aftermath, I felt a sense of peace I hadn't known in years. The disturbances ceased, the air in my apartment feeling lighter, freer. Mark's sacrifice had not been in vain. He had saved me, his love breaking the chains of the curse that had plagued his family for generations. Though the pain of his loss remained, I found solace in the knowledge that he had never betrayed me, that his love had endured beyond death. I kept his letter and the photograph close, reminders of the strength of our bond. The rain outside had stopped, the storm passing, leaving their world cleansed and renewed. As I looked out the window, I felt a glimmer of hope for the future, knowing that I had survived the darkness and emerged stronger for it.